This is Kevin Menn with Outside the Games. I'm here actually on Microsoft campus on location. Have a player here with me, Gio Ursino. He's a running back, class of 2020 from Eastside Catholic. Oh, let me correct myself. State champions, Eastside Catholic, 3A state champions this year. Thank you very much for being on our show, Gio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to have you. Well, we talk a lot about family life and football. And really, when we talk about family, let's start out there. Family, what is family? How do you define family, Gio, and what's family like for you?
Well, I have a big Italian family, a lot of aunts, a lot of uncles, a lot of cousins. So it's like it's a whole other world there. When you're at your school life, and then I go to like family gatherings. It's a whole lot of different people that I can trust in.
Right.
And I have these different perspectives from people who've been through a lot of different situations in life. A lot of uncles who've been through a lot of things, and I can talk to them. They've all played football too. So
That's kind of nice.
yeah, so I can talk to them about football and everything. It's like a place where I can confide in people who know me better than anybody else.
Yeah, yeah. You talk about Italian families, though. So it's associated to sometimes. We're not talking the mob. We're not talking Sopranos. Okay, this is a family that's really built on hard work, right? Determination, support, and help in any way they can for their family members, right?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, a lot of my uncles played at O'Day, so they got
the rival.
They got the rival perspective.
Oh man, and this kid, you, Gio, goes to Eastside Catholic. Okay, right? Go figure.
Yeah, so they sit on the EC fan side with their O'Day gear on. Yeah, that's what they
I would love to see a picture of that. And somewhere there's a picture, I know.
Yeah.
Well, we talk a little bit about how with mentorship. Before we talk a little bit about that, tell to me what it was like for Gio as a kid and raised, you being raised in a home of both mom and dad, and that family structure, that Italian family.
Yeah. Well, my dad always tries to get me to eat Italian food and gives me crap when I don't like it. I have one younger brother who also goes to EC. He's a freshman right now. And I went to a little public school that's like 5 minutes from my house for elementary school, and played flag football all throughout my young life from like 5 years old up to middle school, seventh grade. So
Wow. So let's talk about the mentors that have been in your life, and who are those mentors and why? Go ahead and speak up too.
my dad was a really big mentor in my life. He helped develop me as a football player and as a person a lot.
Okay.
Kind of instilled the humble kind of part of football. There's a lot of people nowadays who celebrate really early. You've seen a lot of people who drop the ball even before they get to the goal line, and he's tried to help make me like a humble football player, a humble person. I was running in a flag football game, running break free, held up my hand when I was about to go to the end zone. He benched me for it. Told me that I'm never supposed to celebrate before I get to the end zone. Never supposed to showboat. You're always a good sport, always humble. So that stuck with me throughout the rest of my life.
I mean, it's hard for a player though to sometimes not. They watch college, watch how the ball gets flipped, how they spike the ball. A little bit of showboat, especially in the NFL.
Yeah.
But your dad sent the message, and you got it pretty quick, huh?
Yeah. It was a little scary when he yelled at me on the sideline in front of all my friends for it. And it's like you get all these influences from everywhere else, from NFL players, big stars, all that kind of stuff. You see them doing stuff, you tend to do it too. But he made sure from a young age that I knew that wasn't just because the big stars are doing it doesn't mean it's right. So that's what he kind of tried to teach me.
Yeah, no, that's important. Another mentor that has been important for you.
My freshman football coach, Quan Johnson.
Quan Johnson, okay.
Yeah, he was a really big influence on my life. He made football one of the most fun sports I've ever played, especially freshmen. Our team, all of our players love each other. It was a great environment. He took a new turn on like the football coach thing. He wasn't a strict like tough guy football coach like some people like picture them as. He was really fun, wanted us to have fun, wanted us to be together, and we were good because of that. Like the better we played together, the better we played against anybody else. So he was a really good influence for me and the rest of the team to kind of develop that fun-loving football attitude. So
Right. Now, with your dad and Quan Johnson, your coach, can't leave mom out.
Yeah.
How has mom been very helpful for you, Gio, in balancing? Because that's really, parents, they do that. And with everything that a mentor does, mom somehow plays a part in that. In what way?
She's a huge part of my life. She's like the voice of reason behind me. I get stuck in my own head sometimes whenever I run into a problem or something that's stressing me out. I tend to blow it up in my head a lot. And she will be the one that grounds me, gets me back to reality, reminds me that I'm okay. And she's the one that will help me to work through things that I am having trouble through myself. So she's always that kind of person that grounds me, and it's amazing to have mom like that.
It's nice. It's nice to have a voice of reason somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Let's take me through as a student. You know, you come into Eastside Catholic. Now, you've been there all 3 years now.
Yeah.
As a freshman, what was that like coming into Eastside Catholic? I mean, obviously going from a middle school now to high school. Was there some difficulty there as a student?
Yeah, I was lucky enough because EC is a middle school and a high school.
Okay.
So I was lucky enough to go to middle school there too. So I didn't have a whole new change of scenery when I went to high school. But like the class pace, the class workload definitely changed, and I had to adjust to a different kind of like learning technique and all that kind of stuff. Different harder subjects, all that kind of stuff. It was definitely a transition. The workload's different. So,
Oh, very much so.
yeah.
For you, though, as a student, and take me through what it is student life for you now. Take me right now what your class load is like. What's your favorite class that you're taking right now? Could you say?
I like the arts a lot. So like my favorite class is AP Studio Art and probably my film class too, both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what seems to be the hardest class?
The hardest class for me is chemistry.
Is it?
Chemistry is difficult, yeah. Yeah. We have a new teacher this year, so trying to learn the ropes, and it's a lot of work in that class. So trying to adjust to that, yeah.
Yeah. Are you the type of student that likes to sit in the front or the back of the class?
I tend to sit in the back-ish because I participate a lot still, but I tend to sit in the back because I don't like being the one in the spotlight. You know, if you sit in the front, everybody looks at you. So
Right.
if I'm in the back of the class, nobody can look at me.
Right.
So I
Exactly.
just like to be out of the stage. So I usually sit in the back.
How important is it for a teacher to be an effective teacher? What kind of qualities do they have to get the most out of their student?
They have to be able to adjust a little bit to student life because with 7 classes, you obviously are going to have overlaps between work and due dates and all that kind of stuff. So if you're a teacher who's able to change their schedule a little bit, not a ton, but if you can change your schedule just a little bit for due dates or workloads or anything, just so your students don't have to do this like multiple class workloads on the same time.
Right.
If they can listen to the students and change it a little bit so it's just easier on them, that it helps that class. So yeah.
Okay. And how does a student have to be better? What are some qualities that the student must have to be a better student for the teacher?
The students have to respect that that privilege that they get. If a teacher's nice enough to let them change the schedule a little bit based on needs, they have to be able to respect that and not take advantage of it, and actually use it to plan out different due dates and things like that, so they can be more effective and reduce the stress level. So.
What helps a student athlete, Gio, to be a good student athlete when it comes to the teachers? Do you believe that the student athlete has to have good open communication with their teachers in their classes?
Yeah, they definitely do, because when you're playing sports or you're doing like DECA or any other activity outside of school, it takes up a lot of time, and some teachers don't know what students are doing what. So like their go-to is probably to assume that you just have all the time in the world. So if you let your teachers know what you're going through and like what you're dealing with, and like where your big time, like where you have a lot of time to work, and where you have something, maybe you have like a game or like a trip that you're going on and you need to move stuff, you can tell them about that. And if you let them know what you're doing, they can help you work through it. So
No, that's good. Is Gio a good test taker?
I think I'm a good test taker. Yeah.
What's involved in being a good test taker and being prepared for the test?
You got to know what you have to work on, and you got to know what you have down. So if you can focus on the stuff that maybe you didn't get in class, maybe you missed a day of notes, or maybe you just don't get something. If you know that and you focus your time on that, then it'll help you take your test better. So
Yeah, no, it's important. For you, when it comes down to the class itself, how important is it for you to remove distractions from you, to be focused? Is that a hard thing to do sometimes, to focus?
yeah, it's definitely hard, especially when you have friends in your classes.
Oh,
It can be difficult when you're going through a boring day where it's just lecturing and taking notes. It can be super easy, super easy to just talk and maybe like mess around, or especially if you're sitting with your friends or whatever. So it's really important to know when the notes are important, and like you need to focus, and you need to like just say, hey, hold on, just wait, just shush, and you need to be able to take those notes and know what you have to do to get what you need done.
So that falls really good in line. If you're just joining us now, this is Gio Ursino. He is a running back for Eastside Catholic, state champions, Eastside Catholic 3A. Student athlete, of course, but as a person and a player, we find that very important. Again, do take a look at, we cover Washington, Oregon, and California, nationwide, these type of student athletes. It goes really well into a segueing into our student athlete challenges. Take me through what was a student athlete challenge for you. And you can pick from freshman, sophomore, junior year now. What particular student athlete challenge have you found to be difficult in trying to be better at?
Freshman year was really difficult because I was doing 3 different teams. I was playing freshman, JV, and a little bit of varsity.
Wow, what a load.
Yeah, so when you're suiting up for up to 3 games a week and you still have to do all the same work, it can be a little bit of a time crunch.
Right.
So I had to figure out, definitely, that was my freshman year too, so it was the first time in high school I had that different level of workload from middle school, so I had to figure out on the fly how to manage the upped workload with the crazy football schedule. So that was a really difficult thing. I was really tired.
I bet.
Yeah.
Would you say that social media can be somewhat of a distraction for student athletes today?
It can.
How do they handle
definitely.
that?
When you see all these people posting offers or like camps and all this stuff that they're doing, it sometimes it can make you feel like you should be doing more, or like, why am I not doing this, or why am I not getting these things? And it can be kind of a distraction when you like see everybody else's lives posted out there.
Yeah.
So it's really important to stay focused on what you're working on, because if you do that, like you'll make a lot more progress than if you sit there focusing on somebody else's life.
Well, and everybody, the thing I think you think about is everybody else is different,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They have different abilities and talents, right? Not everybody's a great artist like we'll be talking about, like you, but I think they have different abilities and talents that they do, and they do well.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't mean that's right for you. But yeah, no, that's good sound advice when it comes down to that. Could you say that what else seems to be, and there is a kind of a word that, 2 words that actually stand out to me that can be somewhat of a student athlete challenge: time management.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me what time management is for you and how important it is to kind of give me an example. Yeah, but give me an example of time management that you ran into in doing something like that.
Well, in my U.S. history class, my teacher lets you. Homework isn't like a specific date. You have like 2 weeks to do homework. He assigns the homework and it's due in 2 weeks Monday.
Okay.
So if you choose to hold off on that homework for 2 weeks, first of all, you might forget about it. Second of all, you might hold on to it too long, and you might come out on a week where you have a lot of homework, and then all of a sudden you have to do the homework from history that you could have done last week.
Yeah.
So it's just all about like when you have that freedom to choose when you do certain stuff or when you don't, it can build up, and you have to know how to spread things out and manage your workload across when you have more time than when you have less time, especially when there's practices at night and stuff like that. So managing your time and your workload is really important.
Yeah, not an easy thing when you talk about being a student athlete, because not only the fact that you're, especially during the season, preparing, practice, film room, coaches, time, game film you're trying to, dissect. Where does school fit in? And that seems to be sometimes. Is it a thing that's not an easy thing to do? Is like, especially because a student's life, there's other things that you do besides homework and football.
Yeah.
What kind of other activities does Gio like to do?
I draw a lot in my free time. It's kind of like it's a pastime for me.
Something happened to you. There was a switch when it came down to the art. You got something in your hand.
Yep.
That pencil?
Pencil.
That thing was like gold.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, it took me from a crayon. You probably were little, used crayons a lot,
Yeah.
drawing,
Yeah.
and you get that pencil. Oh my gosh, how better does my art turn into, right?
Yeah. You get those new tools, new toys. It opens up a new layer of things you can do. It's really
Right.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. With the student athlete challenges, what's one thing that you could probably say to another student athlete that could help them navigate through freshman and sophomore year? Because those seem to be very instrumental years. Because you're not only the fact you're a freshman, you're learning new school, hallway, where are my classes, all this other stuff. But there's some things that I'm sure you could share that you learned and that other student athletes can learn from you.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is you can, if you play sports, or you play football, or if you're like on some kind of team, there's like a robotics club in our school. If you find like older people, older upperclassmen in those activities that you do that you can trust and you can relate to, you can ask them. You can ask them things like, if you don't know where class is, that's a pretty simple one, but you can ask them that. Or if you need help with an assignment, most of those guys have done the same assignments before. You can ask them about it. So if you find those upperclassmen that have gone through what you're going through, and you can find somebody that you can talk to, it's a really helpful tool when you're unsure about what you're doing. So
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's important. What's Gio's plan as far as this year to end strongly, GPA wise?
I'm gonna shoot to get up to a 3.9. I have like a 3.86 right now,
Okay.
so I'm gonna try to get that up to a 3.9. Obviously, 4.0 is always
You would always look. Who wouldn't want a 4.0, right? But yeah.
4.0 is always the goal. But
Right.
if I could get up to a 3.9, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah. With that, when you think about what time it takes to school, what seems to take a lot of your time when being a student in your classes or taking classes, right? You have your classes, but what seems to take up a lot of time when it comes to schoolwork?
Like a specific class would be chemistry. Takes up a lot of time. Lots of math takes up a lot of time where you have like 13 problems for homework, but each one of those problems has A through F.
And they want you to explain how you got everything and
Yeah.
all that, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the answer. You got to figure out what was the process to
Yeah,
get to
they
that.
make you think you only have 13 problems, really have like 50. You have 50 problems.
Smart teachers, smart, yeah, right?
So that takes up a lot of time.
What about papers? Writing papers?
Papers also take, especially when, like, if you're in some of those AP classes where they spring stuff on you really fast, like in like AP literature, there's like a paper a week,
Oh,
and
wow.
some of the times you don't really know what you're writing about. Like they'll give you a poem, like we have in-class essays too,
Right.
so they'll give you a poem the day of. You have to read it once and then write an essay.
Wow.
Yeah, so essays like that can be really difficult, especially when you read the poem and you're like, I don't know what to do with this.
Well, yeah, because you're trying to have to figure out, like, what can I write about?
Yeah.
It's almost like, okay, do I go make myself a sandwich to kind of stimulate my brain?
Yeah.
Do I just take a look at maybe a little bit of TV or find another activity, seeing if that can get me going? Do you find that sometimes to be a challenge?
Yeah, sometimes. Like if I don't know what I'm doing, I'll maybe take a break. If I'm stressed out, like let out some
Good.
air.
No, that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, we talk, obviously we see the aspect of family, we see the aspect of mentorship, and now student athlete challenges. Now let's talk about football. Quite a season this year
Yeah.
for Eastside Catholic. How does it feel to be called state champions?
It feels pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah?
Finally to get that title after
Did you guys get your rings yet?
2 years. No, we haven't. We're supposed to get them maybe a month.
We
Maybe.
can't wait to wear that
I
ring.
know. We're gonna get it at our team banquet. So that'll be
There you
nice.
go.
Yeah. But it feels really nice because we've been chasing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes after that long, you can kind of think of it more as like this kind of unreachable thing. You're like, okay, we're gonna try to get there. Is it gonna happen? But to actually get there and
finally to do it.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Let's talk about that season. Amazing season. You look at the talent that you have on the team, number one.
Yeah.
Some players that stand out: G. Scott Jr., Sam Adams II, DeAndre Rogers, Michael Franklin, Janias, Evan, where's Eric?
Evan
Medeiros.
Reeves?
Medeiros.
Oh yeah, Jason there.
Jason Medeiros, excuse me. So some of those players stood out a little bit. There's others. And then you. Then you talk about the coaches. What was it like to start this year, first game out of the box? Take me through that.
We had a little bit of confidence issue in the first game.
That's Oaks Christian, right?
Yeah, Oaks Christian going to California, like it's a team trip. We're going on a plane. We feel like we're celebrities almost. Like, so you
Yeah.
go into that and you get a little too cocky, and you don't really think about what you're gonna have to do in that game to win.
Are you more worried about what's going to be put in your suitcase? Like, I have shorts, I'm gonna have my sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice weather. Because I mean, this isn't Washington,
Yeah.
Oregon, weather.
Yeah.
Bundle up. It's sunny outside, but it's still 65 degrees.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah, some people were packing like a vacation. And so when you go into that with that mentality, you can kind of get caught off guard, which is what I think kind of happened to us. We weren't focused enough. But so that was kind of like an adrenaline shot, like, okay, here we go. Now we have to go back to Washington and start off our season, and we have to build back up from where we were. And now we're not on top of the world, we have to prove it again. And that was kind of our motto throughout the season, was prove it.
Right.
Over every game, we have to prove it again. So that was what we had to do.
Yeah, here at Outside the Games, I think our take on it was the fact that that was a very instrumental game to you guys. It was a big punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
It was a wake-up call. You're facing a good team in California, not like a team that you couldn't beat, but it was a team that really was ready to play you.
Yeah.
You weren't ready to play. Could you say that also, too, when you talk about you as a team, could you say the team, but also maybe coaches, together weren't all dialed in?
Yeah, I think we didn't prepare enough. Like the coaches, the players, all of them. Like for anything to work, both sides have to put in equal amount of
Good point.
effort. So when the players go into it thinking that it's a little bit of a vacation and they don't prepare, even if the coaches put in everything,
Right.
if the players don't execute, then it's not going to happen. But if the players put everything into it and the coaches kind of lack off a little bit,
Right.
then it's not going to happen. So I think for both sides that we had to refocus and both sides had to work together to put everything into it. So that was important.
That was important. So then you get through coming back home. A little bit of, we could do better,
Yeah.
right? We could do better. What pivotal game got it all going for you after when coming back from that loss from Most Christian?
Well, this is a little far down the season, halfway through, but O'Day, the first game, the games that led up to it were a chance for us to get back into our groove, kind of, to focus on what we need to do. Like we always say we're not playing anybody else, we're playing ourselves
Right.
every time. So those games that leading up to O'Day were all about us focusing and getting back into our groove, getting back into our game.
It's fine tuning, right?
Yeah, fine tuning. And then when we get to O'Day, that's the real challenge. That's what we wanted, right? So after that first half of the season, getting back into our game, focusing in, then we go to O'Day's home field, and it's time to show what we've been working on.
Right.
Yeah,
That was a tough game.
yeah. It was
You
a tough
played.
game.
You played it at O'Day. Lot going back and forth, a lot of jawing. It's a rival, right?
Yeah,
And if I remember correctly, it was a tied game. Both defenses were pretty much going at each other. Offenses trying to figure each other out. And then that switch hit for you guys to turn it on
yeah,
and finish out the game strong and take the victory against O'Day at O'Day, which really sent a message because, again, you're talking about people were saying about Eastside Catholic, like they're going to be in the dome. This is a team coming back. Look at the talent that they have. Bullseyes on the back. You get smacked in the mouth by Oaks Christian. Then you got to go to fine tune yourself. Then you meet O'Day. You got some victories underneath your belt. You go to O'Day. Now they're starting to talk a little bit about you. Now you beat O'Day at O'Day. They're talking even more about you. You beat Rainier Beach, you get to play who again?
O'Day again.
In the title game, in the Dome.
Yep.
Take me through that. What was that like for the coaches and you guys to say, you know, we beat O'Day, we got to play it again now for the title?
Yeah, I think it was more of it was fun. Like, we beat them once, now we get to play them again, and it's like an opportunity. Like, we get to play them again. We get to beat them again in the championship. Like, it's the perfect scenario. We beat them at home, now we get to beat them in the Dome, and like, there's no better way to prove that you're a better team.
And a lot of times the naysayers can say, like, you know, oh, well, you're playing the team twice. Who
Yeah.
can beat a team twice?
Yeah.
Right? So there's a little bit of that going on.
Yeah,
That's not the case.
Yeah.
You guys took it as being a challenge to prove it.
yeah.
How was it sending your seniors out with a victory?
That was the best feeling ever.
State champions.
Because we only have one senior on our team who actually played in the state championship game 3 years ago now.
Wow.
So the rest of the seniors were all new to it. They wanted to get theirs, and we loved the seniors on our team, every single one of them. So it was amazing to actually send them out on that note. It's like the dream season right there. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. How were the coaches? They were intense.
They're intense.
Like you said, Coach T-Bar sometimes will look like he'll blow out a vessel sometimes.
Yeah.
He'll get on you. He'll get on you if you're not doing something that you need to do. But how did the coaches feel once this was all done and they finally got over the hump and really had that state title?
They knew we could do it. I don't think they ever stopped believing. Like, the 2 years that we lost, like, nobody ever thought that this was just, we were falling off. Like, nobody thought we were falling off. That's what it was. Like, everybody thought that, okay, we fixed this, we're there. We fixed this little thing, we're there. And nobody stopped believing that we could actually get there. So the coaches, after we won the state game, the coaches were like, okay, this is what we were telling you. This is what we were telling you. Like,
Put in the work. This is what happens.
Yeah. So I think that was all. We always thought we were going to get there. And yeah.
Take me, Gio, you as the player now, you being a running back, wasn't always easy. There were some injuries, key injuries to the position. Game one, and I mean, it started beforehand, sophomore year, freshman, sophomore year, building up to this moment, to where now Coach T-Bar says, and he's the running back coach, he handles that assignment, being the head coach as well. He now comes to you and says, you know what, Gio, you now have to take you're taking the reps at running back. Maybe not all of them, but you're taking a lot of the reps. How did you handle that?
That's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because I always want as much as possible. And because what happens for me is usually, the more reps I get, the more I can do. And like, so if I get maybe 3 reps and then I'm out, it's hard to get something going. But if I get more reps, then I get into like this groove where I'm like, I feel like confident and I can go. And so whenever I get like extended lengths of reps without being broken up, it's like you can get going. You can actually do something with it, and like it transfers from drive to drive, where you can be like, okay, and I come back out here and I'm doing it again, and I'm gonna do it again, and it's always fun when you get extended reps like that.
Yeah, and you could say that couple things is, one is that you got better as the season progressed, right? There was more confidence that you had. But could you say some of that confidence was due to that offensive line?
Definitely. Yeah, we got some big guys up front, really good guys. Jason's committed to Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, our center. So when you have the line come back to you saying, hey, I'm going to make a hole for you, you're going to run through it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So,
that's a big confidence booster.
It's fun when you have the line that's like working with you and confident in you, confident in your ability. Like they trust in me, they trust in all the running backs to get it done. So they say, okay, we're going to open up the hole, and you're going to go. And then,
Yeah, what I noticed too is that your team had a lot of weapons. Not only they had you, but they had a lot of other weapons they could go to.
Yeah.
But then there was something about that defense. Oh my word.
Yeah.
That defense, your Eastside Catholic defense, Crusader defense, was amazing.
Yeah.
They were strong, and I tell you, they played with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. They found themselves this year. Like, I mean, we've always had a good defense the past few years, but this year it was like lights out. Like, shutouts. We put the 2s in most of the time because we're blowing out teams, and then that's when the other team scores. Like most of the games where it's like 45 to 13, those scores came on the twos. Like our first defense got shutouts across the season. They were so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Breaking bricks.
Yeah.
We got to see that. In fact, outside the games was at the Memorial Classic against Central Catholic.
Yeah.
You guys played, which is an Oregon team. But breaking bricks was something that you guys did a lot. It was kind of like there's a thing that a lot of other teams do, the turnover chain or so on and so forth. But you guys chose bricks. Why bricks?
Just because when you got to brick, it was because you made either a 50-plus yard play, you got an interception, or a forced fumble, or like big plays like that. So the brick was like showing that you were dominant, you crushed it. And so it's like it was a new tradition that we put in this year. And if you do something impactful in that game, you get to break the brick.
Now I noticed breaking the bricks did not happen later on in the games.
Yeah.
They took why did that change?
Mostly it changed just because it was hard to lug them around to all our games, and because what happened was people had to carry them from the school up into the buses, and they carried them from the buses to the locker room, and so I think it just kind of faded off, and people were tired of doing that.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we were at a game one time, and they're like, "Hey, is that your bricks? Your sledgehammer?" We're like, "No, that's not ours." And so JT came by, JT on the offense.
Yeah.
He came by and he was like, "Oh, I gotta grab this." Yeah, I gotta take it back with us. This is actually ours.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's funny. For you guys this year, though, the adversity and challenges you faced, could you say that brought you guys more together as a team?
I think it did, because when you face that kind of stuff as a team, you have to trust in other people more than if you're just breezing through it. Like when you put that trust in people, it's sometimes a little uncomfortable. When you have to put something into somebody else's hands and you can't control it, it's like, dang, are they gonna be able to do it?
Right.
And like when you have to be able to sit there and put that trust in them and say, okay, they are gonna do it. Like when they do it, you're a team now. Like
Yeah.
It's important.
So, you being a junior, gonna be a senior next year, does the bullseye get even bigger next year? You guys are defending the state title, so.
Yeah, I think the bullseye always is big on your back when you win and you're defending, and then add it to the one that we already have because of like a reputation that we built up. You put those two together, and everybody's gonna want to beat us.
Is there something that you learned from this season that you can apply to next season on how not to handle maybe a certain situation?
Definitely. I had a couple games where I was really upset with just myself because of performance or whatever. And for me, I had to like take a mental reset halfway through the season. I was like halfway through, I had to take a mental break and say, okay, this is not working the way I'm handling this. And I had to refresh and say, okay, I'm gonna go into every game just with no expectations about, okay, I have to do this. And then if I don't, like earlier in the season, I would say, okay, I have to do this or else and then when I didn't do it, I would get really upset with myself. So I have to go into the games. I told myself no expectations, no saying you have to do this or that. Just go out there and leave everything on the field, every play. And when you do that, things start to work out.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you can also change up and do something different for you as a player this year?
Definitely getting bigger.
Yeah.
I up my weight room game, my training game, and it's the last season of high school football, right? Like it's high school football is not like college football, so it's your last season.
This is it, man.
You gotta put everything into your off season that you can. So I'm gonna have to get bigger, stronger, faster, so I can sell out my senior season.
Yeah, because now you have, again, if you're just joining us, this is Gio Ursino, and he's a class of 2020 running back for Eastside Catholic, the state champions, 3A champions, Eastside Catholic. Sam, too, and you, is really the running backs.
Yeah.
Because you lost one of the running backs as a senior. So, I'm thinking a little bit of Thunder Lightning. What do you think? With you two, you guys have a lot of talent.
It was the three-headed monster, and now it's gonna be a two-headed monster. And
Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's gonna work really well. I think we're both gonna get a lot of reps, both going to get a lot of time. And when you have that interchangeable kind of thing there, you don't get fatigued as much.
Right.
Reduces chances of injuries, and really you can do so much more when you have interchangeable stuff, because we have a formation called 20H too,
Right.
where one of us will go to running back and one of us will go to slot.
Okay.
And we'll both be on the field at the same time. So when we can do that, switch back and forth between running back and also be on the field at the same time,
Right.
there's so many things that we can do with that. So I think it's going to be really dangerous.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll tell you, look for Eastside Catholic to be dangerous next year, because, again, they're bringing this class of 2020 class. You didn't lose too much this year as far as seniors go. Now, Gio, you don't do a 7-on-7. Did you do anything with 7-on-7, or did you have any time with that?
I did like a team league where we put together a 7-on-7 team from the EC team,
Okay.
and went out there and competed against other schools.
Okay.
But yeah, I did a little bit of that over the summer.
Right on, right on. What was it like playing for Coach T-Bar?
He's an intense guy. High expectations. It can be it'll be a little stressful sometimes, because you're thinking, okay, like there's a lot of plays, a lot of audibles, a lot of change-ups. We changed our basic run plays 7 times this season. It's just constantly changing things. So you got to be on your toes all the time, focused, and he knows what he's doing though.
Right.
So yeah.
And be ready.
Yeah.
I've noticed that even with him is, you're not ready, you're not in.
Yeah.
You have to be really dialed in and be ready to go and know what you're running.
Yeah.
Right? How important is the film room for you and the team?
It's important to see. There's a lot of
Is that something that they emphasize?
Yeah.
You guys?
Every week he'll say, "All right, make sure you're watching film. Make sure you're watching film." He puts it on us a lot. We don't do a lot of whole team film sessions.
Okay.
It's like a lot of stuff where he's saying, "Okay, go," because he puts it up on Huddle and sends it out to us, and then he says, "Okay," he'll be coaching us in practice, and he'll say, "Okay, go on film, watch this, watch what they do in this scenario, watch what they do in this scenario," so you can go and look at specific scenarios that we're coaching on,
Okay.
and know what to do when those one-on-ones come up in the game. And you know you're not going to be surprised by anything.
Okay. All right. Now, a nice little tidbit I think that I've learned about you is you love art.
Yes. Yeah.
Take me through a little bit about what that is for you, Gio. An artist, right? There's a lot of different type of artists, right?
Yeah.
They draw, paint, but you had quite an experience. I'd love our viewers to get to hear what that experience was when it came down to oil and canvas.
Yeah. My mom posts a lot of my drawings on Facebook and just says a little bit about them. And this one person, I don't even know her. Like, I don't know who she was, but she saw it on Facebook and reached out to my mom and said, "Hey, do you think he could do a painting for us?" And she sent a picture that she wanted, and my mom brought it to me. And usually I draw. That's what I do. And it's the first time I actually painted something big. I didn't tell her.
Yeah, right?
Didn't tell her it was the first time I painted
Right,
something big, but
right.
I said, yeah, I can do that. So we set up this like easel and then a canvas in the living room.
Oh, he's professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, made it a professional.
Yeah. Set that up in the
setting.
living room.
Yeah.
Kept that up all summer. Worked on it as much as I could over the summer. Put in an hour or two a day.
Was that tough? Was that
Yeah.
hard to do? Oil and canvas? Is that a little
Definitely.
different?
Like it was a learning curve, definitely.
Okay.
Um,
You don't have a pencil in your hand, literally, where you can control, erase, draw.
Yeah, it's really different. I painted over it like 7 times. Like
Oh,
I would
wow.
paint and I'd be like, I don't like that, so I painted over it and
Wow.
started over. And it took me all summer. Finally finished it and I sold it to her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
And
cool.
I understand that there is another request.
Yeah, she put in another one. She's like, hey, we like this one a lot. You want to do another one? So
Wow.
maybe doing that next summer.
So, your class right now that you're taking at Eastside Catholic is kind of a studio.
AP studio art.
Studio art.
Yeah.
So that seems to be a class you really enjoy and like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I heard also too, because we believe with the student athlete, hashtag student athlete strong, student athletes, we believe that stronger student athletes make stronger communities. I've heard you've taken that to a different level. Give me an example of that.
There's an organization called Shirts Across America,
Yeah.
which is it puts together student trips. I went on it last year, and I'm going on it again this year over midwinter break.
Okay.
And so so people from a couple of, I think it's like last year it was like Roosevelt, I think, went with us.
Okay.
But so we're going down to New Orleans and working
Wow.
on some houses down there for Hurricane Katrina relief.
Man.
So last year I went down there and worked on a house for a week, and then
Impressive. Katrina was obviously just a devastating natural disaster, right? I would have thought that they've already built up already.
Yeah.
Is it far from the truth on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of just empty land where they had to tear down all this stuff, and there's a lot of rebuilding they still have to do. It's like like everybody thinks that it's mostly handled because it was so long ago, but like,
Right.
I mean, the rubble itself has been cleared, but like you have to rebuild.
I mean, you have open lots,
Yeah.
right? And that you're having to build on.
Yeah, we're driving down this street with just open lots, and then we get down to the end, and there's like half-built houses, and we spend a week. We go back there every day, working on the same house.
Wow.
So yeah.
Tell me this though, and again, this may be more of a construction question, but you're building houses, so
Yeah.
you're in the mix on this. Is it something that they're building smarter houses? Because obviously with the levees
Yeah.
and things like that, they've talked about building homes higher.
Yeah.
Or do you see some of that?
Yeah, the one I worked on last year had a big, like, concrete base, like this high. So it was like a porch that just had steps up to the front door, and the whole bottom was just concrete.
Wow.
Yeah, so it prevents that
So
flooding.
they're being smart too
Yeah.
when they're building.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I tell you, it's been something to get to know you, Gio, and get to know you as a person and a player and a student athlete. We really appreciate you being on our show.
Thank you for having me.
I tell you, it was wonderful to do that. But then to get to see next year, it's the goals that I'm sure you guys are setting. Possibly prove it too. I don't know what the motto will be next year, but I'm sure you'll find out what that will be soon. Getting ready, and is it something that you guys have to get that mindset
Yeah.
to get ready for camp and get ready for all that kind of stuff coming up?
It's definitely going to be a thing where we have to focus on not letting up, because it's been like a 3-year journey, right? Like where we've been, lost the first year, lost the second year, third year, finally made it, and it can be easy to be like, okay, made it, like, and then you go into the next season a little bit lax. So that's going to be a big challenge that we have to focus really hard on not falling into that kind of lull where when the post win kind of feel good. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a challenge, but
What key things are going to be something that you can offer to the team? And you got to think ahead.
yeah.
Possibly a college program.
Yeah, I gotta up my work ethic in the off season. We gotta get bigger, faster, stronger. I'm gonna be lifting a lot more than I did last year, working out with trainers and all that kind of stuff, body work. So if you can put everything into the off season, you can get better results in the regular season. So
And of course the classroom too.
Yeah.
You're going to be working hard in that as well. So that's important. Well, I tell you, if you haven't gotten to love Gio Ursino, I tell you, you're out of your mind, because this is a guy that not only do we see has talent on and off the field, but he has a special gift as well in art and being able to make his community stronger, farther than his community, but taking it, some a little Eastside Catholic back to say New Orleans and bringing it right back. I tell you, again, as always, appreciate you being on our show. This has been Kevin with Outside the Games, but we're not done, because we have this thing called the Quick Blitz. We get to know you personally as a person, okay, a little bit more in depth.
yep,
Favorite food?
orange chicken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Panda Express is the first place I think of.
Yeah, I love Panda Express.
Okay, so any Panda Express out there, you know this guy. You give him that orange chicken, it's
Yeah.
another level. Favorite dessert?
I don't eat dessert.
Okay, we found out that this is something to be a little bit, I've seen, done student athlete interviews, some people aren't doing the dessert. Why so?
About 2 years ago, like obviously every kid likes candy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I was like, I needed to focus on eating more healthy, and I decided just on the spot, like, hey, I can't be eating all this crap now.
Right.
So I can give it up cold turkey and haven't eaten any since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Apple or Android, and why?
Apple. It's
Have you ever had an Android phone?
never.
That says something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really have much of an argument there, since I've never had an Android. But
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
but you like to use how to use.
it just seems a lot more user friendly.
Yeah. No. PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox,
Why?
Halo.
Well, that's one game right there.
Yeah.
I thought you would say Fortnite, but I guess
I'm,
no,
no.
So he's not down with Fortnite. Favorite cleat to wear?
Adidas.
3-stripe.
Yep.
Now, does that correlate over to his favorite shoe as well?
Also Adidas.
Yeah, classics, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I wear them all the time.
Right on. Favorite musical artist right now?
NF.
Okay. Favorite track?
Intro 3.
Intro 3.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite movie you just saw?
Aquaman.
Aquaman. He loves
Yeah.
Aquaman. DC.
Yeah, DC. I love
Yeah.
DC movies.
So recommended.
Recommend it. Yeah.
Okay.
It was really good.
All right. Get serious on a couple questions here for you. If you were running late somewhere, you had to be somewhere on time, would you call or text, and why?
If I was running late to get back home, I would text my parents probably. But if I was running late to like a job or something more official like that, I'd probably call.
Is job more important than your parents? No, just kidding. Just kidding. But no, yeah, that makes sense. Either way you communicate, right?
Yeah.
That's important. Gio, if there was one thing you could have an influence on and change in the world today, one thing, what would that one thing be?
I think climate change is a really big issue,
Mhm.
and the way our president's kind of handling that is not very good. So I would definitely put some of my influence into that area to help that problem.
You know, being from the Pacific Northwest, you even see more so because I mean, with you know the Puget Sound and the air and the trees and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Obviously, worldwide, there's an epidemic.
Yeah, we got a really awesome community with lots of trees, lots of green,
Fortunate,
Emerald City, right?
right?
But
Yeah.
it's unfortunate when you see all that getting cut down. So
Favorite NFL team?
Seahawks.
It's like, right? Yeah.
I can't say another one.
Right. Pants or shorts guy?
Pants. I like sweatpants.
Like to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you the kind of guy that has boxes of shoes?
No, I don't really have any basketball shoes at all, actually.
Okay.
Never really been a basketball person.
A lot of cleats though.
Yeah, a lot. I have a few pairs of cleats.
A few pairs of cleats. Yeah. Do you think that, and we'll look at it this way, what's the most important, you think, apparel for a football athlete when they wear their equipment?
Most important thing. I'd say cleats. They have to be the most important part.
Right.
Because the rest of it's assigned to you, like the helmet, everything. Some people like wearing arm sleeves and tights and stuff like that. I wear tights all the time.
Yeah.
But I think cleats are the most important because it's the most like stylized to you.
Right.
Low tops, high tops, like
Right.
what kind of style fits you. So I think that's the most important.
Favorite car to drive if you could drive one?
Oh man, I like Range Rovers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sport or?
Probably the sportier one, but they look really nice. So.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind driving a Range Rover.
Yeah.
For real. One last question, and I know because I know you'll get it right. I have a feeling you get it right. Being on the Puget Sound when it's raining and cold, or being on outside the games.
Outside the game.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. I tell you. Well, I'll tell you, this has been Gio Ursino again, state champion, 3A champions for Washington State, for Eastside Catholic. He's a running back, class of 2020, but very talented and on and off the field. Again, hashtag student athlete strong if you can. And again, we appreciate having you on our show,
Thank you.
telling us a little bit more about you. But if you, like I said, if you haven't fallen in love with Gio, hey, come on. There'll be something to watch next year. Eastside Catholic will be ready. And again, we thank you for watching. I'm Kevin Menton with Outside the Games. Gio Ursino. Have a good day.